welcome to Above Replacement Radio. I'm your host, Christian. You know what Christy Mathewson wasn't worried about? SIERA. When you're thinking about Pedro Ciriaco, I mean, the only one that can compete is maybe Hannes Wagner's 1908 season. Over there on the other side of the screen is Daniel Curran.
Like, if we just clip together every time we've talked about him on other people's profiles, we've done a Mickey Cochran episode.
I can't get past Rabbit Marinville. It's not necessarily Hall of Fame. It's not necessarily above average, but we can guarantee you we are better than just the standard replacement level college sophomore.
And welcome to Above Replacement Radio, where we're talking baseball Tuesdays and Thursdays. I am your host, Chris Chianta. Over there on my actual right, as you cannot see on YouTube, is Daniel Curran. How you doing, Daniel?
Chris, I'm doing good. We're getting closer to the season, and that means we are doing some more intense division previews with some tighter divisions. A lot of divisions that have multiple possible winners. A division that has at least 3, maybe 4 potential playoff teams.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
Yeah, it is. You know, we order by least interesting to most interesting divisions. So, you know, we're on our last 2, so we're getting into some very intriguing divisions.
That's right.
As I got to get closer to this microphone, but yeah, and division previews are letting me know how close the season really is.
That's right.
Yeah,
we're 16 days away from opening day on the day that this is being released on Tuesday, which is March 16th. So we're inching closer every single day. I'm glad we're finally gonna have hopefully a full 162 ahead of us.
Yeah, it'll be nice because, you know, it will give us a real gauge on where the league is really at.
Exactly.
Like if someone slumped last year, we can see if that was legitimate. If someone broke out last year, we can see if that was legitimate.
It's gonna be hilarious when we get to like early June and we get to the 60th game. We're like, man, we really made judgments based off of that much of a sample size. What were we thinking?
Yeah, like a traditional playoff team will be like 5 games out of the division. It's gonna be really weird when that when that approaches. But yeah, it's gonna be great when the season kicks off and we get a full 162. It'll be our first full 162 game season of Above Replacement Radio. So,
wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, over 100 episodes in, we still haven't covered a full 162.
We have never
season. Covered
a full regular season because we literally started the very day that the 2019 postseason started.
Yeah.
It took us what, 7-8 months to talk about regular season baseball? October to July.
More than that, I think. Yeah,
that'd be 9 months, right?
10 to 7, yeah, that's 9 months.
Wow.
And like, yeah,
almost 10 because it almost went to August.
Yeah, it was early October.
9.5 months. Crazy.
Like 9.5 months, almost 10 months for us to talk about regular season baseball, and we got about 2 months of that in. Yeah, so we've been doing the show for almost 18 months.
I think we should give ourselves a goal this year.
Yeah.
We should have every team represented at least once on How About That during the regular season.
Yes.
I think we can get that done.
I think we can do that. Because there's always
There's
one
one
outlier.
There's always if it's a bad team, there's always that one team. If it's a really good team, there's always the one guy flying under the radar. And that's kind of what our idea is. Like if I don't know, if I'm trying to think, like if Fernando Tatis Jr. is going off for 2 weeks, like you already know.
Yeah.
So we're going to be like, but if you look at on the other side of the infield, you got Eric Hosmer, who's been doing this over that time. And no one's talking about that.
There's a 10-degree launch angle. Yeah. But yeah, we're very excited about this. But yeah, we've done the show for like 17, 18 months, and about 2 months of that has been during regular season baseball. So
I think we've spent more time doing postseason baseball.
Yeah, I think
just as much.
At least as much postseason.
That's kind of scary.
My God. Yeah, that is pretty wild how that's turned out. It's the perfect formula.
It is.
For how that lined up. But yeah, we're getting into division previews. And also today, we are introducing a new segment.
Here we are.
We have we're both Springfield College students of the Communications and Sports Journalism program. And we have a professor who's been sort of out of the loop of baseball for a little bit, but he kind of wants to get back in. So we're going to have him on.
We are going to be his outlet.
Yeah, we're going to be his outlet, and we're going to, bring him back into the baseball world, and the segment is called Kyle's Questions.
That's right.
As his name is Kyle Belanger.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to introduce that. He's going to be coming up in about 25 minutes of the show. But first, we'll get started off by talking about...
It's probably not going to be a smooth transition into the interview.
Probably not, but I mean,
It'll be fine.
We'll see. We'll see what my editing skills can entail. Probably not the best, but I'll try to do as best I can. But anyway, we are talking about the Red Sox first, who had a terrible, awful, no good, very bad year.
We're not going to talk about it.
They were incredibly excruciating to watch. They are coming off a 24-36 season. They lost Jackie Bradley Jr., Andrew Benintendi, and Jose Peraza. And they added Garrett Richards, Kike Hernandez, Marwin Gonzalez, Hunter Renfroe, and Matt Andriese. And also, along with that, Eduardo Rodriguez is coming back.
You missed one. They got a reliever from the Yankees, and you missed it.
Oh, they added Adam Ottavino.
Yeah.
I forgot to get that one. Must have gotten lost in there. And yet, they added Adam Ottavino, which was one of their better ones. And also, along with that, Eduardo Rodriguez is coming back from opting out of the season due to COVID, and Chris Sale might be coming back mid-season. So
I think if Chris Sale comes back, it's going to be in September.
Right.
Because, Alex Cora has said he's going to take it as slow as possible with Chris Sale, and I don't blame him, because this team isn't exactly supposed to be competing. So if that's not the case, you might as well not rush this guy back, because he has a history of injuries, and you don't want to mess him up any more than you already have with a rush back from Tommy John surgery. Yeah, and it's been talked about before, if it's a non-competitive season for the Red Sox, which, it's not a guarantee that will be the case, but it likely will be the case where maybe not non-competitive, but not really competitive for a playoff spot, especially in the traditional form, if it's not 16 teams. If it's like that, then they're probably not going to need him in the season and don't want to rush him back. But anyway, what player are you watching from our beloved Red Sox? Well, Chris Sale is not going to be there, but the guy I'm watching has been compared to Chris Sale in many ways, not because of the arm he throws with, but because of his mechanics. You're making a face like you have him too.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. His name is Tanner Houck.
I thought you were going to go Bobby Dolbeck.
No, I did not. I kind of thought you were going to go Bobby Dolbeck, but you know what?
Well.
Oh well. Anyway, Tanner Houck, he only appeared in just 3 games in the 2020 season, all of which were against playoff teams. He faced the Marlins, the Yankees, and the Braves. He won all 3 of those games. He had an 0.53 ERA. Peripherals aren't as good, but there's no denying he made those 3 games count. In fact, he produced the only season in baseball history, Chris, you know what that means, with a 1.25 plus B-WAR in less than 20 innings pitched.
How about that?
So a very exciting season for Tanner Houck, a 2017 first-round draft pick from the club, and he's going to look to expand on that and fight for a rotation spot in 2021.
This was our first crossover of player, I believe, because we had a crossover of question. Yeah, we had a crossover question, significantly, and then we did have a crossover question with the Cardinals, but that's a meme question in a way that we have, so I wouldn't really count that. But what else did I have on Tanner Houck? I think you displayed it all. I guess I should talk about Bobby Dolbeck. I don't have crazy assessment of him. But yeah, he had a 959 OPS last year.
He's got to get the strikeout rate down. That's the only thing.
Yeah, he struck out in 39 out of 92 plate appearances, which is a 42.4% strikeout
And look at that.
rate.
You didn't even have his baseball reference page pulled up. You just straight up was like, yeah.
Oh, no, I got it.
Shh. They don't need to know that.
No. No, we could basically say that we're just doing this with our eyes closed.
Yeah.
No one would know.
No one would know. They can't see us.
Yeah, but Dolbeck, 959 OPS, 152 OPS plus, and if you want to see where his OPS ranked among rookies, you can find that yourself if you want to, because I did not prepare for that. If only this is the down. We do it.
I can probably pull it up right now.
Yeah, we do the division previews without communicating.
Yeah,
with
that's
each
kind
other.
of the whole point. Is we were like, you know what? Let's not tell each other who we're
Yeah.
picking. So we gotta just hope to God we don't pick the same person, and usually we don't. I think.
Yeah.
This is the 5th division preview we've done. This is the first player we've crossed over in.
Yeah, it's fun to do it that way. Yeah, this is our 21st team that we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
First,
We've gone through 2/3 of the league without talking about the same guy.
yeah, first crossover.
And we did the Pittsburgh Pirates with one good player.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
How many plate appearances did Dolbeck have?
He had 92 plate appearances.
Great, so he just missed 100.
But yeah, I think last year we had more crossovers.
So out of all rookies with at least 50 plate appearances, which is a very low number, admittedly, only 59, he ranks 3rd in weighted runs created plus behind Ke'Bryan Hayes and Randy Arozarena. And we all know how good those two guys were.
Yeah, Ke'Bryan Hayes is already a player to watch that we talked about, and Arozarena.
He's on people's radars.
He captured the baseball world in the postseason last year.
And then he captured something else in the offseason.
Oh, that's great.
I thought that's where you're going with when you said captured. I was like, that's an interesting choice of words.
For those at home, you can Google the context on that.
Except, I think that was dropped. Those charges.
Yeah, it's still.
See, it's
funny.
okay because it supposedly didn't actually happen.
Yeah, it's just what would hearsay?
Yeah,
it's all hearsay.
Yeah.
So it's funny. But yeah, now on to questions about the Red Sox.
Yeah.
What is your question?
So for the last few years, even when they've been struggling through 2019 and 20, the offense has remained one of the best in the American League. So if the offense performs to how it's expected to, with the new additions of Cordero, of Dolbeck in a full season, of Hunter Renfroe, Marwin Gonzalez, do you think that it is enough to try and compete for a postseason spot?
Their offense alone. I mean, it's in the American League. It's a top 6 offense comfortably, and maybe top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they will always be in the wild card discussion. I don't know where that defines them as contending, but I feel like they'll always be in the wild card contention conversation. They'll be that team that's like 2 games behind, 3 games behind, and then eventually that's where I see them going this year. So that's my definitive answer for that. My question: JD Martinez coming off an off year. He had some great seasons before then, and will JD Martinez hit over or under 289.5?
289.5 as an average.
Yes.
Well, wasn't it reported that he was going to be allowed to use the video room, but they got to censor out the catcher signs?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'll take the over.
Taking the over.
I will take the over, assuming that is the case.
Yeah, he
is one of the best hitters in the league. He might be the best hitter in the division when
Mm-hmm.
he's allowed to use that.
Yeah, exactly. 2018 to 2019 was something to marvel at.
Mm-hmm.
So now on to the Baltimore Orioles, who are coming off a 25-35 season. They lost Jose Iglesias, Renato Nunez, Hanser Alberto, and Alex Cobb, and they added Freddie Galvis, and they are, I wouldn't say they added these two, but they're giving these two a shot, Felix Hernandez and Matt Harvey. They're giving them a shot, but the likelihood of that succeeding is low.
Yeah.
What player are you looking at from the Baltimore Orioles?
Yeah, so this team, I'm not even going to sugarcoat. This team is not trying to win in 2021. Like, this is another bridge year into the ideal future of maybe 2023 and beyond, if we can call it that. That might even be generous.
Yep.
As to what it could be. I don't know how much Peter Angelos is going to be willing to spend going forward, but regardless, they need some guys that they can rely on for the future, and one guy that I'm looking at is Austin Hayes. He's an outfielder on the team, and he has a 116 OPS and 116 weighted runs created plus since 2019 in just 209 plate appearances, which is, it's a small sample size, but I honestly think more exposure will help him out, and he could probably raise that. In fact, Fangraphs has him hitting 20 home runs in 2021 with a 744 OPS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think his defense is highly spoken of as well.
It is.
Like, I think, yeah, he had a good highlight of him robbing a home run, I think. And yeah, he's a good young guy. How old? Do you know how old he is?
He has 1 year of service time. I think he's 25, 26.
Yeah, young center fielder to look out for. Pretty exciting player. The guy I'm going with.
He's 20. Okay, yeah, he's in his age. Oh wow, he was born on July 5th, so it's right after the age cutoff. So he's going to be in his age 25 season.
Nice. The player I'm talking about is a left-handed pitcher, John Means. So John Means, he was a guy to look for last year. You know, he was coming off a year where he finished, I believe, second in the Rookie of the Year vote. And he struggled out of the gate last year, but in his final 4 starts, he put up a 1.52 ERA and struck out 30 batters in 23 2/3 innings pitched and only walked 3. So a flat 10 strikeout to walk ratio in those last 4 starts. And of the 111 pitchers who pitched at least 40 innings pitched last year, his strikeout to walk ratio ranked 10th of those 111. His big problem was the home run ball. He had 2.5 home runs per 9, so he really needs to fix that problem. He, has a great strikeout to walk ratio. It's just that he's got to keep the ball in the yard. And
but I mean, everyone has a home run issue nowadays.
Yeah, it seems
so. It's
that
kind of
way.
just learning to contain that.
Yeah, I mean, he survived 2019 all right. Which 2019
he was an all-star.
2019 was the
year that the Orioles set the record for most home runs given up by a team in a single season. Yeah,
and and it was the year of the juiced ball.
Every year since at least 2016 has been the year of the juiced ball.
True, that's very true.
I think for John Means, like, he just needs to. I know this sounds very weird, but you might just need to embrace the home run ball. Just accept that it's probably going to be part of your repertoire every so often. But just focus more on just like getting the strikeouts, keeping the ball over the plate, making sure not to walk too many people, because that's obviously something he's been very good at. Maybe, I don't know, learn what pitches are more useful for him. I know he's not necessarily a fastball guy, as most left-handers are not usually.
Mm-hmm.
So I think sort of for John Means, like, you honestly might just need to accept that the home run ball might be a part of who you are as a pitcher, because it's not too abnormal for any pitcher to have that problem nowadays.
Yeah.
And you know what? MLB is reportedly deadening the baseball, so who knows?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if he keeps missing bats, that could be a thing where home runs become less likely if he continues to strike out batters in the way that he did, especially in his last 4 starts. So now on to questions for the Orioles. What do you got for me?
So you mentioned 2 of the players that they added over the offseason, and that question sort of revolves around them. Which of these events has a better chance of happening in 2021? Adley Rutschman coming up and winning Rookie of the Year, or one of King Felix or Matt Harvey having a comeback season?
That's a good question because, Rookie of the Year...
Keep in mind, I don't know when Adley's supposed to come up, but it's probably not super early. Like, he's only played 1 year in the minors. Yeah,
he was drafted as, I think, a junior.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I feel like catchers may get more development time, but also Joey Bart came up after 1 year in the minors.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough question. I'm trying to think of the AL rookies because the National League rookie class is really deep.
Kalenic is coming up this year, right?
Yeah, Kalenic's coming up this year. as noted by Kevin Mather, in mid-April.
In mid-April, we're going to see him.
They're not going to just go crazy and start him opening day like a bunch of lunatics.
Like what are we, the White Sox? We just extend our players before they come up?
We'll just sign them to, what did Eloy get before?
It was like 6 years, 80-something mil.
Yeah. He got, a very comfortable 8 figures before stepping on a big league diamond. Let's get a look at Eloy's contract while I think about it.
Oh no, not even close. It was 6 years, 43 mil.
Still,
so I got the years right, not even close on the.
Still $43 million.
Oh, but there's options that can make it go to 78 mil.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
That's probably where you got it. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the AL rookie class. Bobby Dolbeck is in it.
Yeah, Bobby Dolbeck is in it.
I guess Tanner Huck is also in it, but I don't know how much time he's getting in the.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to
majors.
I don't think he's going to be in the rotation.
What other? Yeah, there's Kalenic. I think still the potential of Hernandez or Harvey having a comeback year is still more likely because I feel like they're going to hold Rutschman back. They don't they're not they're not deep, but they're probably going to hold him back for service time, and they don't really need him right now.
Well, let me ask a follow-up question. Which of those two do you think has a better chance?
Between, I would say Felix. I feel like maybe potentially, even though he's older and has less velocity, his experience and ability to control the baseball might help him, and he might not have the strikeout numbers, but I think of a guy like CC Sabathia who struggled and then he kind of found his new identity. Maybe that could potentially happen with
I would say Matt Harvey
with Felix Hernandez.
He's younger, he's got more velocity, and also he's less removed from being okay. Like in 2018 he was kind of decent. 4.94 ERA is obviously not good, but he had a 4.57 FIP with a 1.6 wins above replacement for the Mets and the Reds. And he actually, those numbers were very bloated from his time with the Mets. He was actually pretty decent in the back half of 2018 with the Reds.
Yeah, the thing with Harvey for me was that I've seen him try to create that comeback season multiple times. Hernandez, I guess he would consider 2018 on potential comeback seasons, but new scenery, it's probably gonna, it's more likely gonna hurt him. But I would say between Harvey and Hernandez, I give Hernandez the benefit, more of the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, my question.
All right, your question. We went on a bit of a tangent that time.
Yeah, we did. This is a good episode to go on a tangent because we really have the division preview and we got Kyle's questions. But my question, there were two young guys who produced very good offensive seasons last year. Who will produce the higher OPS, Ryan Mountcastle or Anthony Santander?
I would say that the correct answer is Ryan Mountcastle. He was a highly touted prospect coming up. He was number one in their system for years. I remember before 2018, people were talking about him as the Rookie of the Year. So he's been waiting quite a minute to finally get up there, and I really think that he's gonna make sure that he gets everything done this year. And Santander, I know he's very good, he's very talented, but I feel like a lot of that last year could have been lightning in a bottle for him.
Right.
He was not really projected to become anything, coming up.
Yeah.
And he could still certainly have a very good season for the Orioles, but I don't see him topping Mountcastle in OPS.
Yeah, it seems like Santander, he had this crazy hot streak. He was one of my how about that's. So yeah, it would make sense that he might not be as consistent as Mountcastle. Yeah. He had 8 home runs in 14 games last year, and 7 of those 8 home runs either tied the game or gave the Orioles the lead. It was this crazy offensive stretch from him.
Well, because you used him as a how about that.
Yeah. And it was pretty crazy, but it's probably not it probably doesn't signal that much more success for him, even though he had that.
I think Ryan Mountcastle might be the team MVP besides Trey Mancini.
Right. Yeah.
Which, by the way, that's something that I know we didn't mention it, but if there's a reason to watch the Orioles, that's it right there. Like, he's had quite the comeback story over the last year.
Yeah,
he was diagnosed with leukemia, I believe.
Yeah,
was it that?
He had chemotherapy done.
He had cancer.
Yeah, he had cancer, and he's, after 1 year on the sidelines, he comes back. I think
colon cancer.
Yeah, colon cancer. He got a hit in his first spring training at bat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great comeback story. This is likely your American League Comeback Player of the Year.
Yeah, regardless of how he performs. The
Yeah.
fact that he is standing on a baseball field in 2021 is enough.
Mm-hmm.
That is, outside of the stat sheet, that is 100% the number one reason to watch the Baltimore Orioles in 2021. And not only that, but there is a very great chance that he could perform extremely well for the team as well.
Yeah, that's there's a very good chance. I mean, he was their best offensive player for
basically 3 years.
Outside
of Manny Machado.
A few years for sure, yeah. But yeah, that leads that is the end of the Orioles talk. We are going to get into the Blue Jays. Yeah, I know. We're going to get into the Blue Jays, Yankees, and Rays after we do some Kyle's questions. So we're going to head into Kyle's questions. And now we are here with a man who has led us into the sports journalism world, a guy who kind of ducked out on baseball for a little bit, on purpose or by accident, but he's been talking about how he wants to get back into it, but he needs a little reintroduction into the baseball world. Ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Belanger. How you doing, Kyle?
I'm doing great. I didn't leave the baseball world. The baseball world left me. I want to be very clear about this. You don't spend 35 years steeped in baseball culture and then just duck out if you don't feel like somehow the sport that you've loved is seeing other people. And that's how I felt. And I felt like she wasn't being honest with me. And I left. But old habits die hard. And I feel like maybe it's time to give her another chance. And I'm really excited about this. And I'm thrilled that you guys are my Sherpas to climb back up Mount Baseball. So thanks for having me on, guys.
So when was the last time that you would say you were fully invested?
That's a great question, Daniel. Fully invested. I think you and I were talking off the air about this, and the last crop of prospects that I followed hard. And I want to be honest, my level of baseball love was intense, sort of early internet era. I was that dude who was constantly on Baseball America, looking at the top 10 prospects for every organization, making sure that I hit up the New Britain Rockcats, making sure I hit up the Norwich Navigators, making sure I hit up all of the Eastern League teams when the top prospects were there. So I was in hard. I mean, like Eastern League All-Star 2003 Grady Sizemore MVP of the game, level hard. I was in hard. And so the last time I really cared would have been, so my last guy that I loved watching come up is someone who's back in the news. It's JBJ. When Jackie Bradley Jr. won his back-to-back World Series with South Carolina, I married a Gamecock, and that was really meaningful. And when he ended up on at the time my Red Sox, it just seemed like a dream come true for me. And then, so that when he finally matured to a big league talent is when, and that has nothing to do with it, but that's roughly the era when I stopped. So maybe let's call it 12-13 was the last time that I was fully in.
So I have some unfortunate news for you, Kyle. Dustin Ackley did not work out.
I look forward to finding out who that is, and I so excited.
He was one of the top prospects in 2012 and 13 for the Mariners.
I'm sure he's a lovely guy. I'm sure he is
too. But it just didn't go as planned.
Did he go the way of Brian Taylor, or did he flash and flame out, or did he never even make it?
It got to listen. So it got to this point, and this is when you know it's bad for a baseball player. He had really nice long hair, a red beard, and he ended up eventually going to the Yankees.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Had you said long hair and a red beard and went to Oakland, I would have been like, I'm sure Eric Burns loved him.
Yeah. No. That's the last place you want to go to if you're gonna let it flow like that.
Yeah. He was he was just a gas stove that never turned on.
Yeah. Those are dangerous.
All right. Yeah.
So we just want to catch up with you a little bit. So just letting you know, the Cubs actually broke the curse.
Yeah. Okay, so here's how I know that happened, because almost immediately after that, I did some work with Kyle Schwarber, and I remember being like, "Oh, hey, great work breaking the curse." And I was like, I had to quickly remember, like, did I remember that properly, or am I like gonna accidentally end up in Schwarber's doghouse? And he was like, "Thanks, man, thanks. Kyle's got to stick together." I was like, "Yeah, Kyle's got to stick together."
How did that connection happen?
It was it would have been in a Super Bowl in
Houston.
Yeah, it was
the year after.
Yeah, good call. Look at this guy.
Well, who could forget?
As a
Patriots fan.
Oh, okay.
28-3 game.
Good call. Yeah, I turned it off at halftime. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, you
don't tell me it's
watching the second half.
It's still on my DVR. Don't blow it.
Okay. So a couple other things. We just want to let you know this now so that it doesn't confuse the hell out of you when you see it. There is a 3-batter minimum if you enter the game as a pitcher. You have to face at least 3 batters out of the bullpen. So if you're watching like a Dodgers game, they bring in Victor Gonzalez, a lefty specialist, and he faces a lefty and then gives up a home run to 2 righties in a row, and you're confused. Yeah. He had to do it.
Yep.
So he didn't. So that wasn't just Dave Roberts doing Dave Roberts.
No.
Okay.
Well, so you recognize that Dave Roberts is not the best.
He was last year.
Historically,
was not the best game manager. So you do know that.
He's a Red Sox fan. He saw 2018.
That's right.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
You saw when he kept bringing in Ryan Madsen.
Yep, you are not wrong. It's honestly, the 3-batter rule is an important the 3-batter minimum is an important reminder for me. And I'll be honest, I was watching in all the spring training that I've been watching, and I recognize how faulty that is to start a sentence that way.
Yep.
I don't watch any preseason football. I love football. I don't watch any preseason hoop. I love hoop, but I'm really doing my best to force feed myself as much spring training baseball as I can because of the rule changes, because I don't want to be fully blindsided, on April 1. And I have to be honest, the jury's out for me and I'm reading about these rule changes, and I sort of don't understand how this could be Manfred's attempt at modernizing the game. It feels like it's just like
nobody does.
Yeah,
nobody understands it.
Okay, so we're cool like that. We can all agree that Manfred's just sort of he's walking around in a dark room just looking for a light switch.
Rob Manfred is the most hated man in Major League Baseball. That's not even a discussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the 3-batter minimum, I honestly didn't hate it as much as I thought I would. But then there's the rule where in extra innings a runner starts on second.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
I think what they should have done, if I'm being completely honest with you, and this is maybe showing you where my priorities are at this point in my life, is if they want to institute a new rule, let's do the free tacos thing on the weekly. That'll bring all the boys to the yard, if you know what I'm trying to say. Like, that's the milkshake that people want. Give me a free taco. Someone steals a base, pick a random player. Let's let Taco Bell reap some benefits here. I don't care about time of the game.
If spin a wheel. If this player steals a base today,
bro, if I'm getting a Nachos Locos taco or whatever the hell those things are called every week, I don't care how long the game goes. I will watch until I get that Doritos Nachos, whatever.
Yeah, you get like the Fox game of the week. Whichever team steals a base first, that city gets a random Taco Bell spot, and that city gets free tacos.
All of a sudden, teams want to spend money and compete now.
Yeah.
We just fixed baseball in like 3 minutes.
Gianza, you're basically the Connie Mack of 2021. That's a brilliant idea. Let's go with it.
Gotta love Connie Mack.
That's right.
We're we're a big fan of the late 20s, early 30s A's dynasty.
We were just talking about it today.
yeah.
I have a daily like baseball trivia thing that Chris and I use every single day. And today's question was, who is the first team to have three straight 100 win seasons? And I saw that, I was like, oh, it was the 1929-31 Oakland A's, like, or the Philadelphia A's at that point. I was like,
right,
come on,
right.
Yeah.
And like that's all in part to our history series, because that was that. How many we went through? Jimmy Fox, and we went through Lefty Grove. We basically went through Mickey Cochran.
Yeah, pretty much.
Al Simmons was also there.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I love the work that you guys are doing. I think that there aren't enough, baseball specific podcasts that aren't afraid to be both storytelling and nerdy. Like the ability for you guys not to just rattle off statistics and to build a narrative is it's really special. And I love digging in on the historical ones, because you guys don't even refer to, like, I like the historical ones that are way before, like that, like the Mickey Cochrans of the world. It's fine listening about the 2007 Rays, like whatever. I remember that well, but like really when you're talking about guys that like the Connie Mack stuff, that's fantastic to me. I really love that you guys do that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, you may have, if it was anyone else, you were probably like, oh, Connie Mack, it's not a reference I can be making.
I remember, and I don't even remember the full story. It was a horrible radio, but when I was working, I was a assistant sports editor and a sports columnist up at a daily newspaper up in Greenfield, Massachusetts. And legend was, it was, right near the Turners Falls Airport where Ted Williams used to fly into, back when he would, take his prop planes in and out. But the story was also that Connie Mack used to scout Franklin County American Legion games. And, in his senior years, he would just bring a folding chair and sit there and scout Franklin County American Legion. It's really crazy.
Love that.
Yep.
So without further ado, this segment is Kyle's questions. As Kyle's getting back into the game, we're here to answer any questions he has. So why don't you go ahead?
All right, I have 4 of them, and I'm going to kick right into it. As you know, as you both know, I'm a talker, so cut me off when you need. Just play that playoff music, the music that they play in the Grammys when someone talks too long. Play me off when you need to. So I'm going to start really simple. I'm going to ask it in a way that's going to speak directly to the other listeners who are my age. I'm going to ask you, and I'm keeping them AL East specific today because I understand this is the AL East preview show.
It is.
Yeah. So my first one is a reference to the 1990 season, specifically a New York Yankee prospect who flashed in the pan and then disappeared. And I'm going to ask you this, and I'm going to let you ask me any clarifying questions. Who is Kevin Moss in 2021?
Kevin Moss. Please hold.
No, let me clear it up. Kevin Moss was dope in spring training in 1990. Homeboy must have hit 12 home runs in spring training. His rookie cards went through the roof. I did some unspeakable things to get my hands on some of them. And then I think couldn't have hit his way out of a wet paper bag the rest of the way. So
in 1990, he had a 902 OPS for a 150 OPS plus.
Yeah, that's 50%.
He was actually, hold on, Kyle. I'm going to stop you right there. He was about, at worst, an average hitter through the first 4 seasons of his career.
Okay. But he wasn't the 60 home run guy that we were all expecting.
Okay, fair enough.
And he was like he flamed out at the end.
Yes, and he came out of nowhere. No one knew who Kevin Moss was coming in. So my question is, in the AL East this year, who's someone that is not yet on the radar, who by mid-season we're going to be like, whatever happened to that guy? We expected big things because of what happened in spring training. What the hell happened to him?
It's hard to apply that to someone who's performing well in spring training right now, but there were a few guys that, like, not to make this all about like the Red Sox or whatever, because we are Red Sox fans, but there were a couple guys on the Red Sox who excelled in the month of September. Maybe not so much in spring training this year.
Who we already went over earlier.
Yeah. So Tanner Houck, who's a Tanner Houck, who is a right-handed pitcher. He pitched 17 innings in September last year. 1 earned run allowed, 21 strikeouts in those 17 innings. So like, but he wasn't a top 100 prospect in baseball at all.
He had a 4 ERA in the minors as well. He was a first-round pick in 2017,
Okay.
but in 2020, he produced the only season in baseball history with a 1.25 plus wins above replacement, according to Baseball Reference, in less than 20 innings pitched.
Yeah.
So he had an impressive season. And then there's Bobby Dolbeck, who Chris is talking about. He had a 959 OPS.
Yeah, 152 OPS plus, signifying that he was 52% above the average hitter.
Yeah. His strikeout rates are very bad, though.
Both in the Sox season? Both in the Sox system? Okay.
Yeah, and neither of them came up as top 100 prospects in baseball, but
I thought Dolbeck was like 90.
He might have been. He was like top 5 in the Red Sox system, but
Okay.
not
Which
like
isn't
super on the radar, guys.
Which isn't saying much now, right? Because I understand after I went to sleep 8 years ago, the Red Sox system went in the crapper. Am I right?
Well, it wasn't 8 years ago. It was more like 3-4 years ago at this point, maybe.
2016 was when it started falling apart.
Because that's when they traded Anderson Espinoza for Drew Pomeranz, but that didn't really turn into anything bad.
Yeah, they were like, we already have Betts, Bogarts, Benintendi, Bradley. We already have all those guys, so we can just trade everybody else.
We got them locked up for at least 3 years, those guys. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Wait, I mean 3 years. Okay, so that helps me. So Hauk and who was the other? Dolbeck.
Dolbeck.
Yeah, that's a right-handed pitcher and a first baseman.
Okay, this is great. Wait a minute. They have another Dolbeck at first base. They're not allowed. They already had their Dolbeck.
DALBAC.
All right.
BEC.
We'll let it slide.
Dolbeck.
All right. Next question. You ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
My next question is actually probably pretty easy to answer because of what happened last year, right? We didn't really have a true season. And so again, I'm going to refer to 1990, the last time I felt cool. Also the 1990 version of the American League East. So I'm talking Tigers here. Who is this year's Cecil Fielder? A guy who just didn't play last year, or maybe was fully on the shelf last year and could just turn himself into an absolute stud if he gets to play the full complement.
This is a very easy question. Chris and I just finished going over him.
I'm trying.
It's Trey Mancini.
He's definitely the best story.
Yeah.
Is he still with the Orioles?
He's still with the Orioles. I don't know if you heard, but he was diagnosed with colon cancer during spring training of 2020. Well, obviously he was not going to play the 2020 season with, the health concerns that he had. He's going to be in the opening day lineup. He got a hit in his first spring training game. He's the best hitter on the Orioles through the last probably 4 years besides Manny Machado. Obviously he couldn't play last year, but he's probably I could see him at most getting MVP recognition this year.
Yeah. And another guy with a good story, not necessarily like as great as Mancini's, but he didn't play last year because of Tommy John surgery. He's actually had 2 Tommy John surgeries and cancer.
Great one.
And he was just traded from the Pirates over to the Yankees. His name is Jamison Taillon. He's a right-handed pitcher. His best season was 2018. He had like a low 3s ERA, but he's ran into the, elbow surgeries. And there's also a trend of Pirates players going from the Pirates and doing very well elsewhere. So Jamison Taillon could be that guy for the Yankees and the Yankees rotation.
That guy has gone through everything.
That's fascinating. It's wild that that Trey Mancini is still a thing. Like that blows my mind. Very wild. Awesome. Great answers. Okay. All right. So my next one is actually sort of a theoretical question. I'm well aware that 162 is what we hope to play. I'm also not naive enough to think that COVID won't have a say or two throughout the year. So which AL East team do you think would be hurt the most if they only get to play 140? This is a team that I'm looking for a team that really needs 162 to come into form.
I would say that team is the Toronto Blue Jays out of the American League East teams because, I think the widely regarded favorites are the Yankees and then maybe the Rays just because of their last season. The Red Sox and Orioles are likely not going to be contending, but the Blue Jays, they might need all that they can get. They have, especially with the pitching depth that they have, like it's kind of depleted after the first couple guys in that rotation. So they're a team that needs everything they can get.
For me, it kind of depends on how those 140 get played out.
Yeah.
Because like hypothetically, when do you think like would games be sporadically just like canceled?
So in the way that I've thought about this season playing out, and I'm going to be completely honest, I'm thinking about this in terms of my Roto fantasy drafts. Because there are certain numbers you want to get to, right? When you're drafting in fantasy, whether it's, you set your numbers of home runs, you set your at bats, you set, whatever the case may be. And I'm thinking like, there are going to be some guys that just aren't able to get to the numbers that I'm projecting. And so I don't really have it in a certain place. I don't imagine it as big chunks. I imagine it more of like, I'll use the Cardinals because they seem to really like getting canceled last year. Like the Cardinals miss a series and maybe we'll make it up later, maybe not. So throughout the year, just maybe you lose 7 series total.
So yeah, a team I was thinking of was the Yankees, but they could also possibly benefit from a 140 game season too, because it depends.
I was gonna say every team you could argue could benefit from it because that gives the people more rest. People that need it.
I mean, I feel like the Yankees could be in their best form by the end of the year because Luis Severino, who is a guy who he finished third in the Cy Young in 2018 and had a pretty good 2019 too. He's coming off Tommy John surgery. He's probably going to be coming back mid-season, so he'll be a good piece to have towards the end of the season. If they can't play every game, that would hurt them. And I mean, it might help if they're kind of sporadically. It might be a benefit if they're kind of sporadic because they have a big injury history. Like Aaron Judge, you probably heard like Aaron Judge hasn't really been able to stay on the field.
Same with Giancarlo Stanton.
And big time with Giancarlo Stanton. So, it could work in like the most extreme of ways for the Yankees.
That's interesting you bring that up because I also think about a guy like isn't Trevor Bauer a Yankee now?
No, he's a Dodger.
No.
Okay. So, never mind then.
He almost went to the other New York team.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. What I was thinking. Okay. Because like he's a guy that just can't seem to like, I feel like a guy like Trevor Bauer, who he's like such limited innings over the last couple of years, right?
The weird thing is he wants to pitch every 4th day.
Yeah,
no,
but
Bauer got injured in 2018, but he still qualified. And then he was like, he got over 200 innings in 2019. And then last year he got enough innings to win Cy Young.
Okay, then I must be thinking about someone else. Who did they? Sorry, this is again bad radio, but I think about guys who who are probably going to get managed into some rest, right? Like guys who for load management or making sure that guys with sort of an injury history, it could work.
Tyler Glasnow. That might be who you're thinking of.
No, I think a guy who just became a Yankee who you might be thinking about is Corey Kluber.
100% it's Corey Kluber. Thank you.
Corey Kluber is what you were thinking of.
Yep, because I was looking at the Yankees. See, I'm telling you, I'm really trying hard to get back in, like at like a decent level now. But I was looking at it was Kluber's numbers, and it was like 31 innings last year or something. It was like
one.
Okay, so yeah, maybe it was 31 pitches. I don't know, but like
it was probably 31 innings in 2019 because he made 7 starts. Then he got hit with a comebacker and he never came back.
Yep, that's exactly what it was. And so I think like a guy like Kluber, who they're probably going to try down the stretch to, keep fresh, a couple of COVID pauses might actually work out well for him in terms of the team, right? If you have to push him from, game 3, the third game of a series in Minnesota because it gets canceled. Now you have him on the first night of a series, against Tampa, right? I mean, like that's a big difference right there. Hey, where's Toronto playing? Are they in Dunedin now?
Yeah, they're in Dunedin for their first 2 home stands, and then from there it's who knows because they can't really go back to Buffalo because there's a minor league team playing there. But by the way, I went pretty deep into this last year. The Blue Jays offense raked at Salem Field in Buffalo. Like they went off like they never did in Toronto, and I honestly don't think it's just like more development. I really think like that part had some sort of factor for them.
Yeah. And it's funny.
That is one thing that concerns me about the team is that the offense might regress when they don't play there. Right. And I don't know when they're going back to Toronto for the time being.
Yeah.
But obviously as of now, they're going to play in their spring training.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I can't wait. I can't wait to see how that plays out as well. In my last question, I don't want to like take over your whole the whole episode, but my last question is, I'm wondering if you would each just take turns and give me one person. Don't give me the easy ones. One person from each AL East team that you're hoping that I come away with an appreciation for.
This is exactly what we're doing during the previews.
Okay, so it's again, it's not like someone that I'm going to love. It's someone that you hope I can appreciate. I think.
Okay, well, I know exactly who I'm saying, and Chris.
All right.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
There's a pitcher on the Blue Jays. All right. This guy is probably my favorite pitcher in the league. Not because he's good, just because he is so interesting and far from everyone else's standards. His name is Robbie Ray. And I don't want to go too deep into it because I don't know if we're placing this in between the Orioles and Blue Jays.
Okay.
Are we doing that?
We are.
Okay, I don't want to go too deep into it because I'm going to be talking about him later in the show, and I'm going to be talking more extensively. But
well, I'll hear it when I listen to the show. Yeah.
And I've written about him too, Robbie Ray, for sure.
Okay.
That is my Blue Jays guy at least. But if you want a guy from each team, I'd say listen to the show as well because that's kind of
that's a great tease if that's how you want to end this.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, like guys that maybe flew under the radar for someone who's not paying attention, like from the Yankees, the leader in home runs last year was not Aaron Judge, not Giancarlo Stanton. It was this first baseman, Luke Voigt, who they acquired in a deal for a reliever that was just kind of a throwaway trade a few years ago. And now he's leading the league in home runs. So that's a guy from the Yankees. I think we went over the Red Sox guys, like those young guys with Dolbeck and Houck. Yeah. Who else? The Rays are kind of weird because they lost their two best pitchers. So that whole bullpen is something to pay attention to, which is a weird thing to say. Like position player wise, they don't really have a lot of star power either.
They just have a lot of pretty good.
Yeah.
Like a team like Brandon Lau played above his head last year. I don't know if he's going to sustain that type of success.
Yeah. Brandon Lau was he was their team leader and
he was my mid-season MVP.
And then Blue Jays, there's a ton of guys to pay attention to on the Blue Jays. I believe Hyunjin Ryu is the most underrated pitcher in baseball.
He's so underrated. He's finished runner-up in the Cy Young 2 years in a row.
I'm not saying underrated from the writer's perspective, but he's underrated from the fan perspective because no one seems to care.
Yeah.
No one seems to care that he has two Cy Young finalist seasons under his belt. Yeah. And they're barely putting him in like the top 15.
In 2019, he was threatening to have the lowest ERA since they lowered the mound.
Yeah. He was. And yeah, you have, you've heard of the legacy Blue Jays, Kevin Biggio, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette.
Yep.
All those guys are very exciting. And then
Travis Shaw left, but Travis Shaw also, but he's not there anymore.
Orioles, there's really not much to pay attention to with the Orioles.
I would say
unless Adley Rutschman
definitely Trey Mancini.
Yeah, Trey Mancini.
And then if Adley Rutschman comes up, like Chris said.
Yeah,
and then Austin Hayes.
Adley Rutschman was the number 1 overall pick in 2019.
He was Adley Rutschman in the College World Series in 2019 was given the Barry Bonds treatment where he was intentionally walked with the base.
Okay. Is Torkelson also in the organization?
No, he's in the Tigers organization.
Tigers, okay.
So I would not count on seeing him this year though.
Okay.
He's not played a single minor league game.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So I'm also I think guys, that's really super helpful. I think I also mentioned that one of the ways I'm getting involved too is I'm picking up card collecting again.
Yeah.
So I'm just noticing guys like Torkelson whose cards are going crazy right now, despite the fact that he's probably not going to break in until
he's never played a professional game.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I will tell you that my Bobby Witt Juniors came in today and they are lovely.
I think very exciting. Oh, Chris, we were talking about the AL rookie class earlier. That's a guy we forgot to mention.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Casey Myers as well.
Yep.
Tarb Skubal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm shying away from the pitchers. Pitchers cards are never worth much. I've got all my Pedro and Randy Johnson rookies to prove it. If Pedro and Randy Johnson's cards can't appreciate in value, then no one's can. So, guys, thank you. This was really helpful. I look forward if you'll have me on again. If you don't mind me torpedoing the segment, I'm going to take copious notes. And you guys are gonna power my way through.
Anytime you want to just hop on, be like, I have a question.
Yeah, we're trying to make we'll make this a thing that we do like throughout the season. Like if you're watching the television screen with baseball on it and you're like, what's going on here? Who are these people? Just give us short notice.
You have, I think, both of our numbers.
Yeah.
It could also be, I do have both of your numbers. I could also send you a voice text. You can just splice it in. So you don't even have to have me having I don't even have to talk back. You could just play the clip and answer the question.
Yeah, great point. Yeah,
exactly. That's true.
You don't even need to have me have a conversation. No, I love it, guys. Thank you. I appreciate what you're doing so much.
For sure.
All right.
All right, gentlemen.
This has been Kyle Belanger. It's been a pleasure. And we will be having you on in some sort of form in many cases this season.
That wraps up our first edition of Kyle's Questions. So now we'll get into the Blue Jays. So that was Kyle's Questions. A good quality segment.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun. Great guy to talk to. You can go on nice tangents or what have you. Love the 1990 baseball references.
There was not enough Reds, though. Not enough Chris Sabo. Not enough Eric Davis.
Not enough Bob Welsh either.
Not enough Bob Welsh Cy Young talk.
Yeah. Or
Dennis Eggersley 0.61 ERA.
If you want to go like real basic, Ricky Henderson.
Yeah.
Putting together a
10-16 OPS.
10-16 OPS with 65 stolen bases, but
you get
that's gonna be me in the future. I'm just gonna be. It'll be 2043, and I'm just going to be talking about the 2007 Red Sox. I'm just going to be talking about Josh Beckett and how he's.
You're going to be like at like a barbecue with some random like just casual baseball fans. You'll be like, you're going to see someone older be like, oh yeah, I grew up with Ricky Henderson. Like I watched him play for the Yankees. You'll be like, oh dude, remember that 1990 season where he had a 10-16 OPS with 65 stolen bases in Oakland? That was sick. It's too bad they got swept in the World Series by the Nasty Boys, though, right?
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine.
They're like, what?
Me with like some grandfather from Brooklyn talking to me about Koufax, and I'm like, one of those like 8 seasons with a ERA of less than 2 and a FIP of less than 2 in the live ball era. It was insane.
Crazy. Only person to do that.
Yeah. I mean, to put up 10 wins above replacement as a pitcher. I mean. How?
What is it? What is it? The 1800s?
Yeah.
We pitched in 500 innings or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be me. I hope to do that at some point. But yeah, very good segment. We hope to do that throughout the season, and we hope to get him really into baseball, like fully 100%.
Back in there.
By the end of the season, he should just be third mic.
A co-host.
He's just referencing Ex-Wobicon. Yeah.
Meatball swing percentage.
Yeah. Pointing out Franchi Cordero's, Ex-Wobicon on sliders on the outside half of the plate.
On zone 9.
Yeah. Yeah, zone 9. Yeah, it'll be great. But yeah, we're going to get back into division previews, or the division preview that we're doing, and the teams we're talking about. We've covered the Red Sox and Orioles, and now we're going into the Blue Jays. This is the moment Daniel's been waiting for, but we have to start off by saying, coming off a 32-28 season, a playoff season also, they lost Taijuan Walker, Matt Shoemaker, Anthony Bass, Jonathan Villar, and Ken Giles, who didn't pitch much for them last year but had an excellent 2019. And they added George Springer, arguably the best player on the market. He got the most money this offseason out of anyone on the free agent market. Also Marcus Semien, Kirby Yates, Tyler Chatwood, Tommy Malone, and David Phelps. So we know what player you're going to be discussing, but go ahead and give off the old takes about Mr. Robbie Ray.
Chris, you're going to come in here at this time of the night, at this time of the year, and you're going to ask me who my player to watch on the Blue Jays is, as if, you know who it is, but I actually got 2 players on this team. Uh-huh. So I'm going to start you out with a nice little appetizer before we get into the 3-course meal.
Some fried calamari.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about Lourdes Gurriel Jr.
Well, he did it again, didn't you?
Yeah. Yep. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. consensus is a pretty good player. He had a 127 OPS plus in 2019, then upped it to a 138 OPS plus in 2020. So very good player on the Blue Jays. But there's a couple things that I just couldn't let go. First of all, I texted you this the other night. In 2018, he had 11 home runs and 111 total bases. And then in 2020, he had 11 home runs and 111 total bases. He is the only player in baseball history to have multiple seasons with exactly 11 home runs and 111 total bases. That is Lourdes Gurriel Jr. in 2018 and 2020.
So we did have the same player, but for different reasons.
But for different reasons.
How about that?
And there's another thing I wanted to mention
about
Lourdes Gurriel Jr. before we get into the 3-course meal.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Lourdes Gurriel Jr., I was looking at this. He's the only player. Okay, actually, I'm not gonna say it that way. I was going through some Savant stuff, in Savant they just added the year-by-year changes.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, a little bit.
I looked at it, and in 2019, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., very good year by him, mind you. He had 314 at-bats, and in those 314 at-bats, he produced 50 line drives. He squared the ball up and hit a liner 50 times out of those 314. And in 2020, he had 208 at-bats, understandably much less because, it was a shortened season. And in those 208 at-bats, he put up 59 line drives. He had 9 more line drives in 2020 than he did in a very good 2019 season. He is the only player to have qualified in both seasons to have more line drives in 2020 than he did in 2019. And it wasn't even close. It was by 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's all right. Now we gotta bring the button back.
That's a worthy button moment.
Yeah, we gotta get the full clip there.
How about that?
All right, so now it's time for the full course meal. Robbie Ray,
Let's
Robert
go.
Glenn Ray,
Yes.
is not only is he my player to watch on the Blue Jays, he is my favorite player to watch in the entire league. If he's pitching, I'm watching. Doesn't matter what else is on. The thing about Robbie Ray is he is the true 2 outcomes pitcher. Strikeouts and walks. Robbie Ray does that so much and pretty much in a more dominant fashion than anyone else. He is the only pitcher in baseball history, minimum 60 innings pitched, with 11 strikeouts per 9 and an 11% walk rate.
How about that?
He is also one of 6 pitchers since 2017 with 11 plus strikeouts per 9. The other 5 are Chris Sale, Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole, Jacob deGrom, and who was the other one? Chris Sale, Garrett Cole, Jacob deGrom, Justin Verlander, and Max Scherzer. Yeah.
How about that?
So Robbie Ray is among the elite strikeout artists in the game. And by the way, he's only one of 3 pitchers with 12 strikeouts per 9. I was being nice putting the 11 in there so I could throw Garrett Cole, Justin Verlander, and Jacob deGrom in there because the other 3 have more. And he has more seasons than anyone in baseball history with 120 plus innings pitched, 11 plus strikeouts per 9, and 3.5 plus walks per 9.
How about that?
And lastly, he has 32 games since 2017 with 4 strikeouts and 4 walks. Those 32 games are the most in the league, and no one else has more than 17.
How about that?
So Robbie Ray has proven to be virtually the most one-dimensional pitcher in the history of baseball. He is awesome at strikeouts, he is terrible with walks, and because of those walks, he's not very good with run prevention. Now, this means that if he can get those walks down, Robbie Ray is one of the most elite pitchers in the league. Obviously, it's very dependent on it. If he can do that, I don't know if he can because his walk rate has been very bad for many years, but he and Randy Johnson have very similar strikeout and walk numbers through their age 28 seasons. Robbie Ray will be going into his age 29 season. So I will be watching Robbie Ray's every single move, every start, every strikeout, every walk, every home run given up. I'm going to be there for it.
Yeah, it is fun. Yeah, we've done the Randy Johnson episode, and Johnson was not what is known as Randy Johnson now until his age 29 season, and he carried that out through his age 45 season. Mm-hmm. So who knows who else can do that? But I mean, it kind of makes it. They have right now. They're at about the same career path, which is pretty insane to hear. That sounds like a clickbait thumbnail. Like
is Robbie Ray the next Randy Johnson?
Yeah. Yeah, the most similar pitcher in history to Robbie Ray is Randy Johnson at this point. But yeah, here's my player to look for. So out of all the hitters in that powerful Blue Jays lineup, only one man has had an 850 plus OPS, an 850 OPS or better, and 200 plus plate appearances for the Blue Jays in both 2019 and 2020, and that man is Lourdes Gurriel Jr. George Springer did that as well, but not for the Blue Jays, if you were confused at that statistic. Over the past 2 seasons, he has hit 289 with an 874 OPS and 31 home runs in 141 games. And since the start of 2019, of the 10 players who have 400 plus plate appearances with the Blue Jays, Gurriel Jr. leads that class in OPS. So he's been one of their better offensive players, and he's also a young guy. He's just, he's not a part of the legacy Blue Jays. He wasn't really that much of a highly touted prospect, but he's sort of performing better. Not saying that he's going to sustain that, but he's been right up there with those highly touted Blue Jays prospects. Now on to questions regarding the Blue Jays.
Yeah, so I'm going to go first. What is more crucial to this team's development? Because this team is very up and coming. They're not necessarily expected to... they're expected to make noise this year, but it's, you feel like they're not quite there yet. So what is more crucial to them being there? Is it Nate Pearson developing more, or is it Vladimir Guerrero Jr. finding some stability?
Crucial for this year. That's a good question. I think I'm going to say Nate Pearson, because I feel like from a fan's perspective, you want to see Vladimir Guerrero Jr. take that step up. However, the Blue Jays starting rotation, outside of Ryu and potentially Shoemaker, it's kind of a graveyard there. It's not great in that Blue Jays rotation. So Nate Pearson being good would be more vital to the Blue Jays team than Vladimir Guerrero Jr. being good, because if Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s not good, you just stick him in the 6 or 7 spot. He can hide behind, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., George Springer, Rowdy Tellez, Teoscar Hernandez. The list goes on with that lineup. With Nate Pearson, he only really has Ryu and maybe Shoemaker ahead of him. So he requires the Blue Jays require him to be better at this stage in their team.
Sure.
In their team process. Although it would be nice to see Vladdy Jr. take that step up. My question: will Hyunjin Ryu get Cy Young votes for the 3rd consecutive year?
Sure.
All right. I'm not saying he's going to be a finalist.
Sure.
But he'll be.
I'll just say it just to be be nice. But there is a very good reason to believe he will.
And also the AL.
What is he entering his age 36 season?
No, I think it's 30. It's 34 maybe.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, I think he's in his age 34 season, and the class of American League pitchers is not as deep as the National League, so it's kind of easier for him to do that.
Sure.
And he had a good year against some stiff Eastern competition last year. So now on to the New York Yankees. They're coming off a 33-27 season where they were eliminated in the ALDS, so they won a playoff series and then lost a playoff series. They lost Masahiro Tanaka, James Paxton, J.A. Happ, Adam Ottavino, Tommy Kahnle, and Jonathan Holder. So I put in that they lost Adam Ottavino, but I did not put in that the Red Sox added him. I don't know.
Doesn't matter where he went, they lost him, even if he had a hard hit percentage of 50%.
Yeah, what if he just retired? They lost him to retirement. They added Jamison Taillon, who we talked about in Kyle's questions. Also Corey Kluber, who we talked about in Kyle's questions. Darren O'Day and Justin Wilson and Luis Severino will likely be coming back mid-season. Probably more likely than Chris Sale.
I think he comes back before Sale.
Yeah.
Even though they got Tommy John at sort of around the same time.
Yeah, because he's more necessary to the Yankees right now than
Yep.
Sale is to the Red Sox. So what player are you looking at for the Yankees?
So it's pretty difficult to find an under-the-radar player on a team like the Yankees that get a
Right.
lot of media attention. So I decided to just own the nerds and talk about a guy who's on everyone's radar, and that's Aaron Judge.
Ah,
Yeah. Because in some facets, I honestly feel like he might not get the recognition he deserves because since 2017, he is the second highest weighted runs created plus in baseball with a 156. The only guy ahead of him is Mike Trout. He is one of just 2 players to put up 140 OPS plus in every year since 2017. The only other one is Mike Trout. And he is also one of just 4 players since 2017 with an offensive rating above 100 and a positive defensive rating. So, if he's healthy, sue me. He's a top 5 player in baseball. I have no problem saying that.
yeah. When healthy, even when he's not healthy, like he produced a 5-win season.
Yeah.
I think in 2019 when he was injured. Like, when he's there, he's incredible. And yeah, his defense also goes under the radar too. He has pretty good range for a guy who's 280 pounds, and he has a cannon arm.
Yeah.
Which you've probably seen the likes of which on StatCast, like 100-mile-per-hour throws to home plate. Yeah, like there are ways in which he is underrated, which is pretty
Weird.
hilarious to say.
Because people also complain about him being overrated.
Yeah, I mean, like...
And it's not even like the Bryce Harper effect where it's just pointless, conspiracy theory for everyone. It's just, dude, stop.
Yeah.
Stop. He's really good.
Yeah.
Because people have been saying Bryce Harper's overrated since he was like 18 years old.
Yeah.
Since he was born.
Yeah.
They're like, this guy's not that good.
Yeah, since he was trying to get his GED when he was like 17, he was... Yeah. Ever since he was reading of Mice and Men, he was being called overrated on Twitter.
He was literally grieving the loss of Lenny, and people were like, you suck! You're not even good! You shouldn't be on the Sports Illustrated magazine at 18!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, people were calling him a bust when Jay Gatsby got shot in his pool. At that point, they were calling him a bust already. But my players to look for, I'm going with 2 players.
Okay.
Not completely analytical on either, so I figured I'd do 2. One guy I've mentioned a couple times, Jameson Taillon.
Yeah.
In his last full season, which was 2018, finished 9th in ERA, 9th in FIP, 9th in FWAR, and 5th in BWAR. And then my other player to watch, Clint Fraser, who has been a highly touted prospect for a while, and I think he's kind of coming out of his shell. Of the 203 players with 150-plus plate appearances last year, Fraser's 905 OPS ranked 30th out of those 203. And it might be time for him to get an everyday job with the Yankees, because he's not even really a platoon guy. He hits well against both arms, I guess you would say.
He uses 2 hands when he swings.
Yeah. Facing
Yes.
both arms,
Yeah.
he does well. A 905 OPS last year. But yeah, I feel like he might be getting some starts over someone like Brett Gardner, who's also a corner outfielder.
I can't wait for Aaron Judge to hit a 40 home run season just for me to be like, I told you so. He's good.
Yeah. No one was on this guy's radar.
I'm such a genius.
All right. And actually, usually you ask the question first, but I think that's a lead into my question.
Great.
Will Aaron Judge accumulate a 5-win season in
Yes.
2021?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think if he stays healthy, it's very easy for him to do so.
If he stays healthy, it's very easy.
Another guy that needs to stay healthy.
All right.
If he stays healthy, does Giancarlo Stanton lead the league in exit velocity? We're going savant questions here.
Whew. That's a curveball. I like that. I think he has some...
Or can he just be like 100th percentile? Because I think like they give that to like 3 people sometimes.
Yeah, because it's hard to like... Because like, yeah, a significant margin is like 0.5 miles per hour. So like, it's easy to tie. I'm thinking because he's joined by some stiff competition. Like some of the guys on the White Sox have some...
Like Luis Robert, and even just like 45-year-old Nelson Cruz.
Yeah, or...
Miguel Sano.
Moncada. Yeah, Miguel Sano. I'll say yes. I'll say yes on that.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll be 100th percentile if he stays healthy. Because also, they don't count for strikeouts with exit velocity. So it's just the balls you make contact with. So
Exactly.
I think he can get into the 100th percentile. So yeah, now on to the Tampa Bay Rays, the division champions, the American League champions of 2020. They're coming off a 40-20 season where they were eliminated in the World Series. They lost Blake Snell, Charlie Morton, Aaron Loop, John Curtis, and Hunter Renfroe. And they added Luis Patino, Francisco Mejia, who are both younger guys looking to make headway. They also added Michael Wacha, Rich Hill, who are not young guys looking to make headway, Chris Archer, and Colin McHugh. What player are you looking at with the Tampa Bay Rays?
I'm looking at one of those ads. I'm looking at Rich Hill.
Nice.
Yeah. So Rich Hill, as we know, has had quite the resurgence in his 30s and 40s. Get the button out. Rich Hill is just one of 5 starting pitchers I'm going to start that again. Rich Hill is just one of 5 starting pitchers to have an ERA plus at or above 140 through their age 35 season in which they have accumulated at least 400 innings pitched. The other 4 starting pitchers to do that are Randy Johnson, Lefty Grove, Justin Verlander, and Spud Chandler.
How about that?
When we're talking about Big Spud, you know it's real.
Spud Chandler.
Yeah.
Man, that's a guy I haven't heard of.
I didn't heard of him
Yeah,
either. He was
yeah.
a Yankee.
Wow. What era? Like 20s?
Like 30s, 40s, 50s, something like that.
He probably has like 7 World Series championships.
The other 3 are awesome. Like Randy Johnson, Lefty Grove, Justin Verlander. Like that's 2 history alum and then a future Hall of Famer. And
Yeah.
there's Big Spud.
Let's take a
1937 through 47, 3-time World Series champion. He had a 1.64 ERA in his age 35 season, and then just never looked back from there. He retired leading the league with a 2.46 ERA in 1947, the year the league integrated.
Yeah, because they won it in 37, 38, and 43, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I think. And
He had a 1.59 ERA plus
And,
from ages 35 to 39.
and 47 they won it. So I guess he wasn't on the World Series roster for some of those. But yeah.
Spud Chandler.
But yeah.
And that is why Spud Chandler is my 1930s Yankee to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, he's flying under the radar. No one's talking about.
Why isn't he in Monument Park?
Yeah, I know his fastball is averaging about 78.5, but he's someone to look out for.
Yeah.
All right. My player to watch is, they've lost 2 really good starters in Blake Snell and Charlie Morton, so I'm looking at a guy who probably needs to step up, who's been pretty good in his career, Ryan Yarbrough.
Mm-hmm.
He will likely consistently be in the starting rotation now that, Snell and Morton are gone. He had a 3.56 ERA last year and a career 3.94 ERA. And there are 11 pitchers in baseball with 190-plus innings pitched and a 5+ strikeout-to-walk ratio since the start of 2019. They are Garrett Cole, Shane Bieber, Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, Walker Buehler, Zach Greinke, Clayton Kershaw, Hyunjin Ryu, Kyle Hendricks, and Ryan Yarbrough.
Wow, what a list.
Yeah, it's those are some high quality pitchers that he joins, and he's very good at not issuing walks. Is kind of the point of that. He's not a big strikeout machine, but he does not walk very many batters. So on to questions for the Tampa Bay Rays.
So you mentioned how in the interview with Kyle, this team doesn't really have a ton of star power. So with that being said, who do you think leads this team in wins above replacement? Doesn't matter what website.
And that includes position players and pitchers.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. I think, so 2019, their best player was Austin Meadows.
2020 was Brandon Lau.
Yeah, 2019 is like Meadows / Morton. They don't have Morton anymore. I'm going to stick with Brandon Lau.
Okay.
Because he had a decent 2019 too, so it seems pretty sustainable.
Sure.
And my question is actually about Brandon Lau. So I'll go ahead and ask that. Will Brandon Lau hit over or under 32.5 home runs?
30. I think he goes under.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Like, I see. I know that, like, they're deadening the baseball, supposedly. So
Yep.
I think league-wide numbers are going. I could see him hitting, like, 20 to 25.
Okay.
Which is still very good, very serviceable. And I think he's going to shoot the gaps a lot.
Yep.
Maybe get, like, a high 8s OPS.
Yep. Yeah. He was more that guy in 2019
Yeah, that's what I see.
when he was briefly the front runner for Rookie of the Year until Yordan Alvarez showed up. That was a fun time. But yeah, those are all the American League East teams. We hope you enjoyed this preview, where with also our first segment of Kyle's questions. A great time that we hope to be doing multiple times over the season. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you want to follow us on social media, go and follow my Twitter at Chris_Gianta. Follow Daniel's Twitter and Instagram at Daniel_Curran on both. And follow our show Instagram at Above Replacement Radio. Get all the updates on what we're doing as a show. And we hope you enjoyed the AL East Division preview. And we hope to see you on Thursday, where we're going to be talking about the 2003 Florida Marlins. See you then.